Good evening, everyone. Come on in. Welcome to Walking Through the Fire. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes. Make sure you get in because we do not want you to miss this conversation. Make sure you like, subscribe. It takes 2.2 seconds. Just hit that thumbs up. You'll be doing Walking Through the Fire LLC, a world of good. Because see, that like button is what pushes this feed, this conversation into the algorithm. So whenever anybody puts in Walking or Through the Fire in YouTube, guess what's going to come up? This. So welcome again. Take the time to tag somebody. Tell them we got a guest on tonight. You are not going to be disappointed at all. You are not going to be disappointed. I promise you. I promise you. Hi, sis. Welcome. When you get into the live on tonight, make sure you put who's in the house. If we got any RRC people, make sure you shout out on tonight so we can make sure we shout you out. Please remember, as the conversation goes on this evening, we want you to be engaged. We want you to put all your questions, your comments into the chat, and we're going to make sure that we get to them on this evening. Yeah, you still got time. You're running out of time, but you got time to tag somebody, share it with them, tell them, come on over here and get on Walking Through the Fire LLC. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to each and every person that comes back to this platform every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. to hear what thus saith the Lord, to hear some good things, some good tools to apply to your everyday life so that you can make it each and every day. We give encouragement over here. You're not going to be disappointed. You're going to walk away fed. All right. Again, thank you so much. Welcome to Walking Through the Fire, where we talk to real people talking about real life issues, using real life experiences to help each other and the coming generations for what the goal of reaching our next. And tonight, special guest, guys, I need you to help me welcome none other Senior Pastor Orlando B. Jordan Jr. from Resurrection Community Church here in Indianapolis. Yes. Listen, guys, you are in for a treat. This man of God and the way he teaches and preaches, I'm you're in for a treat. We are on tonight to talk about moving the church forward. And who is the church? It's not four walls, it's us. That's who the church is. But we are here tonight to talk about moving the church forward. But before we get into that discussion on tonight, I want Pastor Jordan just to tell us a little bit about himself. Some people may know him, some people may not, as well as just because people have titles connected to their name does not mean that they are not human being walking flesh just like we are. So, Pastor, again, welcome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to the people about moving the church forward. But I got a question. Now again, like I told you, this is kind of laid back. I want you to be naked, but transparent, but not naked. Okay. And so with me saying that, who is the man besides pastor? So who is the man minus the pastor? Because see, pastoring is what you're called to do. It's not necessarily who you are.
Okay, so I'm sorry you broke up just a little bit, so I missed the question.
That's okay. I said, who is the man minus the pastor? Because pastoring is what we're called to do, but that is not necessarily who you are. So if somebody said, who is Orlando? What would you say to them?
Listen, I'm just a just a light skinned indie native. I love people. I love working in the community. My passion is for people. So that I mean that's who I am. I just outside of pastor, I like to have fun. I'm an avid cook. I do a lot of cooking. This might be kind of weird for people to hear, but I'm a huge gun enthusiast. For when people do it the right way. um, so huge gun enthusiast. And yeah, so I'm just and I'm on this awesome weight loss journey. Just weighed in yesterday. I still need to weigh in for today, but weighed in yesterday. I'm 17 pounds down.
Come
So,
on.
so yeah, just I love. Um, what's my favorite dish to cook? Oh man, um, I love a lot of stuff, but probably my favorite thing would be um, I love smoking. I love smoking meat.
Mm.
And but full on dish. I love making Cajun shrimp pasta. Cajun
Ooh.
shrimp pasta is probably hands down my favorite thing to make. And when I say make it, I mean literally. I'm making everything from scratch, except for the noodles, unless I'm really feeling myself that day.
I know that's right. You definitely got now. Listen, guys, offspring, don't be asking, is he on Facebook Marketplace trying to get no plate or nothing, okay?
Look, don't be cutting off my streams of income.
I
If I
know
got to
that.
make a plate.
Come on, touche. I get it. I'm just saying, don't be trying what the Lord trying to do in my life. Say you never know. It might be a whole new look out thing. I mean, a side hustle for you or something. You never know.
Listen.
That is. Can I ask you? I heard you mention your weight loss journey. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. Earlier this year, I was having some dizzy spells. Things just weren't really, I stand up, and I would just tell people I stood up too fast or something like that. But, you know, so, uh,
You freezing up a little bit, Pastor.
there we go. My
Okay.
wife made me go to the emergency room. And all my numbers were out of whack. I mean, everything was high. But the crazy thing is, outside of standing up and getting dizzy, I felt completely healthy. I was
Wow.
preaching every Sunday. I was up and about, moving around the city, the whole 9 yards. I felt perfectly fine. But my sugar was almost 500. My blood pressure was over was 180 something or 200 over something. And so they gave me some insulin um, in the emergency room. Matter of fact, we went to the emergency care or minute clinic or whatnot
Mm-hmm.
first. And when they did my vitals over there, it was so bad.
Pastor, you froze up again.
And found out um, all my numbers was out of whack. So that was the catalyst to really start seeing what was going on with me, figuring out what I need to do. I'm not a medications person per se. Um, so with that, I had to some life decisions. My did prescribe me some things, but he assured me that the dosages that I was at um, are not addictive or whatnot.
Right.
So if I do my end, I can be off of everything. And so just changing how we eat, changing how we live,
Yeah.
all the things. and making sure that I'm up and about. And so um, just went in earlier this month, I think August 4th, and my A1C is back under the diabetic range, and
That's good.
like I said, around 17 pounds as of yesterday. And so God be praised.
Yeah. And again, we just want to say congratulations. And we salute you in this journey with you. So let's jump into family. I heard you got a fine specimen. You just said it. Your wife that told you to go to the hospital. Talk about First Lady Jordan.
So Pastor Chelsea, she's a preacher too.
Mm,
Very much so a powerful woman of God. Um, she is. I tell everybody whenever this conversation comes up, I tell everybody she's a better preacher than I am. Um, and so her perspective, her thoughts, um, the way she uh, angles and looks at the Bible and the Word of God is just awesome, and her spiritual life is ridiculous. So
mm,
when she's preparing for a word for our house or for any house, she's in her closet, she's doing the thing. So beautiful, intelligent, anointed. I could not have asked for a better spouse, and so just grateful to have her in my life.
Well, I don't know if she's watching this evening, but hello, Lady Jordan. Hello, hello, hello. And I look forward one day hoping to having a conversation with you as well. But so looking at your bio and just kind of digging, trying to see who is Pastor Jordan, I come to find out that you are on several boards and committees. What
Yeah.
what is that? What does that look like for you?
So I am the board chair for Unique. It's an abbreviation for United Northeast Corridor CDC. So basically, around our church in the Avondale Meadows area and beyond, um, we have a quite a wide catchment area, and so I chair that board. I am the treasurer for East 38th Street Community Development Partners, which is a organization of churches and stakeholders along the East 38th Street corridor that are looking to develop and refurbish and renovate certain different areas of the neighborhood to add education, to add economic development, add all those types of things. We have all types of developers coming into the community. What happens if the faith community, what happens if faith community binds together and does the same thing? And so definitely love doing my work with them. Um, oh goodness, there's the North District. So I also chair the North District CRDC, which is made up of residents and stakeholders, and we are a voice for the community to IMPD in our area.
Mm,
And so
yeah.
when things happen in the neighborhood, or if we are seeing as residents or stakeholders, we see an uptick in violence or anything like that, we're having conversations with IMPD about our concerns for the neighborhood. So definitely enjoy that work, and probably 17 other different. Oh no, the Greater Indianapolis. I can't ever remember. It's so many boards. I can't remember the name, but it's made up of it's made up of stakeholders and businesses and
Mm-hmm.
wraparound services, and basically we look at more of public health and safety on that
Gotcha.
board, and it doesn't really have a catchment area. We really look for we try to aid those that are dealing with slumlords or in all of those forms. So if it's a hotel, if it's a motel, if it's actual property that someone's living in, and the living conditions are subpar, we go in, we try to advocate for people on that end. And so, number of boards that I sit on. Sometimes I forget. The mayor appointed me to the AIC board. So that is the treatment center that's attached to corrections and things of that nature, for that side. So I'm also on the a mayoral appointee to the AIC board.
What I will say, Pastor Jordan, is you are the epitome of the church not just being in the community, but being a part of the community. I do think, and that, and even in our conversation, they were talking about, you know, as a church, what are you doing if you're not feeding back into your community, if you're not giving back to the community? And so, again, I just applaud the work that you're doing to make sure that you are connected with the community. It's not just a talk about it, but you will be about it type of person to see that change and not just talk about the change.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
I believe we have a responsibility.
Yeah.
So if we're going to talk about moving the church forward, um, we can't just be a beacon of light in a community, but we also have, and it's not. I don't think every pastor has it, but I will say that there is somebody in every church that has the ability to also deal with the marketplace. So we have to preach Jesus, Him crucified, buried, rose, ascended, and coming back again. But we also have people that are frequenting our churches every week that need jobs, that need to make more money, that need adequate housing, that need better education for their children. And so, how do we do that? We have to look for our space in the marketplace and create dollars and revenue from that area so that we can pour back in,
Yeah.
and create an opportunity for people.
What you say, like selling them Cajun pasta dinners?
Listen, because AES want their money every month. So
I know that's it. Listen, so reading again of who you are, the man yourself. You know, they say, it says you're a dynamic preacher, you're an author. Of course, we heard about you being a community leader, but it also said that you blend your faith and mental health in your ministry. And this is what I'm going to ask you, because it said making him a unique voice for holistic transformation. What is holistic transformation?
I believe God called when Jesus says, "I come that you might have life and have it more abundantly." I look at that from a holistic standpoint. So when I'm looking at life, that's not just how I live. That's my spiritual life. That's my financial life. That's my mental life. All of these different aspects of what we're. Hey, sis. Sorry, I saw your
No,
line.
that's all right. It's how laid back it is. You can stop in the middle of your conversation.
So I believe that God is looking at the holistic person. He doesn't just want parts of us. He in this relationship, He wants all of us. And so, in asking for all of us, I believe that requires us to go a little bit deeper than just surface level. So when I talk about holistic, I letting the Lord infiltrate every part of our lives. Let Him infiltrate your checkbook. Let Him infiltrate your job. At RCC, at Resurrection, I tell folks all the time: if people are on your nerves at work, get to work a little early. Get your oil out.
Pastor, I've been there, done it. It works.
Anoint their seat, anoint their telephone, anoint their keyboard.
Baby, it works.
And so that's what I mean when I say holistic.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Please, everybody, make sure that you engage in the conversation on tonight. Make sure if you have a question or comment that you put it in the chat. You still got time to tag somebody, like this, share, and let them know that the conversation is going on how we can move the church forward. So let me tell y'all how I came up on this dynamic man of God. Okay. So we were at a ministry and leaders workshop, and I had the fortunate ability to take his class, and he was talking about ministers, leaders, and the member relationship. And the conversation was so good, but we had what they say, a lot of word but little time. And so just as the conversation really started to open up and peel back some layers with some things, it was time to go. And so I had to make sure that we extended this conversation because there were a lot of things that I walked away with and that I thought about even going back into my church home or doing some self-examination. And I know that it's going to be impactful for the community on tonight. So one of the things, and it was so good, y'all. I kept the pamphlet or the handout that he gave. Usually people toss it to the side, but that's how good it was because I wanted to make sure that I still kept reading it. But one of the things on there, and it said, Pastor, that a key idea is that God designs the church so leaders and members will work together to build healthy, mature disciples and a unified church body. Mm-hmm. So my first question to you is, what are some key things that need to happen in order to have a healthy church and to move forward?
Number one, we need to make disciples of Christ and not clones of ourselves.
Ooh-wee, that's good. Let me ask this real quick, Pastor. Do you have this? Do you have the feed open on any other device or anything? They said they got some feedback.
I have it open on my phone, but my volume's all the way down. But I just turned it off.
Okay, I don't know if it's that. It may not be. I don't know.
So I just turned it off. So hopefully we don't hear anything else.
Okay. Let us know if you do, guys, in the chat. We'll try to monitor it. It looked like it's on my end, but I don't know what's going on.
So yeah, we need to make disciples of Christ and not clones of ourselves, because all of us have come into wherever we are in ministry and church. We have wounds from our last church. We have the upbringing that we have in church or lack thereof, and so the bad habits that some of us, most of us have from either being church kids, being church teenagers, or getting into the church early on in our adult lives, and so it's looking at the standpoint that God made the church to be cohesive, to work together. And so one of my favorite scriptures in the entire Bible is Galatians 4:16. Paul is dealing with the church of Galatia, and he says in 4:16, do we have to become enemies because I've told you the truth?
My God.
And so oftentimes we walk in this level of offense. We walk in this level of offense, and nobody can tell me anything, and nobody can do this or nobody can do that. But in order for us to be able to embody who and what God called the church to be, we have to be willing to put our egos to the side and do the work, and be okay with everybody's not going to come with me. Everybody's not going to take it seriously at first. But if I stay at the work, if I stay at the plow, I can do what I can do, what God empowered me to do
Yeah.
to make a difference. And here's my last thing on this is my last thing on this is um, we have to get to the place and position where we trust and believe God enough to just do the work and don't worry about everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Even when we don't see it,
Mm-hmm.
we got to keep doing it. We had a comment that says sometimes we are good with making converts and not disciples.
And there's a difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, what would you say the difference would be?
Um, I would say that converts are those that have been uh, okay. Converts. Sorry, my mom was texting me.
That's okay. I'm trying to get my microphone to get this echo out.
Converts are those that have heard the word and accepted. Disciples are those that have heard the word, accepted, and now are being taught and receiving training.
That's good.
And so we can't just settle at the conversion because we do really well at telling people what to do. We do a horrible job in the church of telling people how to do it.
I agree. That application part of it. Yeah, I definitely agree. And we're going to look at this from two different lenses tonight, okay? We're going to look at it from leader. I hate this echo, but we're going to rebuke it and keep it moving. The leader lens, and then we're going to look at it about the member lens. And so I'm gonna say a word or a phrase, and I want you to give me your thoughts, okay?
Okay.
When I say the word manipulation, we're gonna look at the leader's lens first. When I say the word manipulation, what do you think about when it comes to the church?
Witchcraft.
Hmm.
And,
So
not when I think of the church. So spiritually, I think witchcraft. But if we're talking about manipulation as it pertains to the church, I think that it is a place and space that some people operate in, and it's really unfortunate. The Bible tells us that the Lord adds to the church daily that which should be saved. And I think it's a dangerous place and space to be in when we have church leaders, ministers, pastors, and everything in between, courting people and manipulating folks out of the place that God planted them to come join their church. I think it's a dangerous place and space to be in. But also, I believe that manipulation is a tool of the enemy. I think it shows that we are allowing him to have a foothold in a space that he doesn't belong. And so, the Bible tells us that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free, and you shall be free indeed. And so, if we're going to operate in truth, that's where we have to operate from. My wife sent me a book earlier this week entitled "The Spirit of the Python." And I got it on audiobook, and I've been listening to it. I've been listening to it this entire week. I don't remember the person's name that wrote the book, so I'm gonna pull it up real fast and hold my camera up so y'all that's watching.
It's called The Spirit of the Python.
It's on Amazon. And so let me see if I get it closer. Oh.
And I'll put it in the chat as well.
Darn that white background. But yeah, The Spirit of the Python, and then this is talking about how the enemy uses the tactics of the python to choke the life out of our lives, to get us to turn away from God, get us to separate from godly relationships, and get us to give up on what we're doing. And that's those footholds that we are seeing um and experiencing is exactly that, allowing the devil to plant or lay these python eggs in our lives and our minds,
Ooh,
letting them hatch,
python eggs. My God.
letting them hatch, and now we have a snake nest instead of just not now we're no longer dealing with one snake. Now we have a nest. And so we have to operate from truth. Um, Thank you, God. We have to operate from truth, because one thing that I've learned in 37 years of life is this: you ain't got to remember the truth.
That's right. That's why I don't, Pastor. You said a mouthful there. That's why I don't lie, because I can't remember what I told to cover up that lie, to cover up that lie. So I just did better off telling the truth. Lying, what you know, how certain things ain't for people. Lying was never for me.
And here let's be transparent. You know, there are seasons and spaces in my life where I felt like I wasn't enough, and so
Mm,
I would say this or I'd say that. But when you get to a place, yes, God's offspring one, that's the author
mm,
that you put in the chat. Yes, that's the author. Um, and so when you figure out that you're enough, that God made you enough, you
yeah,
ain't gotta make up nothing.
that's right.
You ain't you're enough. And so learning that and growing your self esteem enough to stand 10 toes down on who God made you to be,
Yeah.
because this is what I've learned: nobody can beat you being you.
Ooh wee. You absolutely right about it. Hmm.
Um, you can bring whoever your favorite preacher is. My internet pastor is Bishop S.Y. Younger. I
I
love
love
his
him too.
message. Dr. Darius Daniels, he's a dynamic preacher as well.
Yeah.
Um, and so I listen to a number of these folks. But one thing, and this isn't arrogance, this is honesty. If I get up and I'm being myself, neither one of those two people who I esteem highly,
Yeah.
um, neither one of them can do what I do, being myself.
Mm.
But because God made me unique, He
Yeah.
made them unique, and that's why
Yeah.
their voice is so powerful, because they operate authentically in who they are.
Yeah. And not trying to be like somebody else. I want to tap into something real quick that you said. You talked about manipulation being a form of witchcraft.
Mhm.
And I just want to hit on that for a minute in case somebody is listening that may be a babe and don't understand what witchcraft is. When you say that, are you talking about a woman with a crooked long nose and a mole on it and they sitting in a broom with a hat? Is that kind of the witchcraft you talking about?
No. I'm talking about um, I'm talking about the spirit of the witch. Um, um, and so, oh, okay. Sorry, these crazy dogs. You
You,
met them. You met them off
you
screen.
okay?
And so they in here too. They in my office right now too, acting a fool.
That's all right. Tell them I can come
Um,
over there and baptize them later. Bishop gonna be so mad. Okay. Okay.
um, and so when I talk about witchcraft, that's that spirit of attempting to control,
Got you.
to dominate, to override, to write the narrative so that it benefits you and your image,
Mm,
and trying to exert your influence over people,
yeah.
is what I'm talking about when we say that. And so um, we have to be careful. Um, we have to be careful, because right, wrong, or indifferent, the devil comes to church too.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It has a seat right next to you.
Matter of fact, he's got better attendance than some.
Ooh wee. You said something there. Let me ask you this. My next word for you,
Mhm.
humility. And we're talking
Humil-
about leaders.
Humility is necessary on every level. Something that I share in our church with our leaders is if if following is beneath you, leading is beyond you.
Wow.
Um, and my caveat or the next thing that I say right after that is I don't trust a leader that has never had to follow.
Mm, yeah.
Because when you're a leader that has never had to follow, you will mistreat the people of God.
Yes.
Um, because you don't know what it's like. You don't know what it feels like to have to submit under somebody. And so it's a dangerous place to be um,
Is that right in my
when
mouth?
you don't operate or have a level of humility as a leader.
Mm,
Um, you know, I get fussed at, but if the floor needs to be swept, and we just we right at service time, and it's dust right here. I know I got to preach, but I'm gonna grab this broom, or I'm gonna ask somebody, hey, can you get this dust up real quick? We got service about to start, folks about to start coming in. We need to make sure the house of the Lord is clean, and things of that nature. But never will I be a pastor that's afraid to grab a broom.
mm-hmm.
If nobody else is, if there's a piece of paper that everybody keeps stepping over, I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah.
Not because I want to complain or be mad about it, but I'm going to pick it up because it needs to be done.
Yeah.
And that's humility. Also lends me to the word of servant leadership.
Mm. Well, and you said something, you said servant leadership. And I think the main part of that is serve.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people get this perception when it comes to leaders like God can't take away from them. And so I think humility needs to be like number one as well, because just like he anointed you, he can take it away. And he did it to Saul, and he can give it to somebody else to complete, his mission and his vision. And so I think that we have to be, as leaders, be really, really careful and make sure that that is one of our priorities, because by the grace of God, there go I. And in the blink of an eye, just like he's giving you the ability to do whatever gift or whatever it is or whatever the impact is, he can shut it down at any moment.
Listen, Matthew 20:28 says this: "For the Son of Man did not come to be served,
That's right.
but came to serve."
That's right.
So if the Son of God made up in his mind and knows that his job is to come and serve, how is it that we, as the brothers and sisters of Christ, how is it that we don't have a sense to serve ourselves? And so, at Resurrection, so at Resurrection Community Church, 2502 East 38th Street, Indianapolis, Indiana,
Go plug it. I'm gonna give you another
421.
opportunity to do that too.
Um, uh, we have two mottos, two slogans, two whatever, however you want to describe it, that we say in our church. So firstly, we've been saved to serve, and secondly, we lead with love.
Mm,
Those are the those are two pillars that we operate within. And so understanding that we are saved to serve, that means that we don't just give any old thing.
yeah.
We give out quite a bit of food, quite a bit of clothes, quite a bit of resources to our unhoused community, to our in need community, and everything in between. But one thing that any member of RCC will tell you, if you ask them at any given time, what is pastors standard for what we give. My standard has been and always will be: if you won't eat it, if you won't use it, if you don't like it, don't give it to these people. And so we have some major outreaches that we do throughout the year, yes, but we have our bigger ones is keeping our neighbors warm and fed, that we do in November and December, the week before Thanksgiving, the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and the Saturday before Christmas. And we give out hats, gloves, scarves, coats, socks, underwear, non-perishable items. They get a bag of food for that has all of the stuff that they need for a Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner. We serve a hot meal on that day as well. We kind of liked how it worked, how efficient it was, so we kept it. We used to have a sit down meal. Now we have a to go. Everybody can grab their to go and go. But in that, all the coats are new, all the hats are new, all the gloves are new, all the socks are new. Obviously, the underwear is new. Because and we tell folks, and we have some gently used stuff as well from our membership that wants to donate. But everybody knows, if the coat got a hole in it, don't bring it. If you wouldn't wear it, don't bring it.
I like what you said. If you ain't gonna eat it, if you not gonna wear it, and if you wouldn't use it yourself, don't try to give it to nobody else. Yeah. And as you were talking, I was thinking about, because we're talking about healthy churches and moving the church forward. And it's when you were talking to me, the Lord said, and when he blesses you, whatever that looks like, that don't mean you've made it and you stop serving. Just because you a leader and you got your title, you got to work even the harder. The work doesn't stop. And do you think sometimes we get the title and then think we don't have to do anything else after that?
A lot of times I do think that's the case. People feel like they've arrived, but we don't plateau in this life. We go from glory to glory to glory. And so we don't plateau in this life. We can't rest on our blessed assurance. That well, I'm the senior kitchen staff coordinator over chips and salads for the church.
You said now, chips and salads.
So now I don't have to serve on the line. And no, that's not what that means.
Right.
It means that if service is needed and we're shorthanded, that you're willing to do it, no matter what your title is. And I tell everybody around me, if you want to be elevated, if you want a title, you need to be willing to do the job without it.
Yeah. I agree.
Because those are the people that are going to be elevated, that are willing to do the job without it, because that shows that the title wasn't necessary for you to be able to do the work.
That's right. You were doing it because that's what you was called to do anyway. Okay. My last phrase for you under leadership: maintain integrity in public and in private. What's your first thoughts on that?
Let your yes be yes and your no be no. We have to stop separating our social media life from our regular life. Our social media persona cannot be different than who people see on Sunday, than who people see on Tuesday. Because oftentimes, if we're being honest, people have a tendency to have one persona on Sunday where you can huck and buck and do your Holy Ghost two-step and bye black sheep with the best of them. But Monday comes and you in rush hour traffic and somebody cuts you off, and now you speaking in tongues that don't need interpretation. You can lift holy hands and say hallelujah on Sunday and cuss in English on Monday.
Yeah.
And so there has to be a melding between the two. And please hear me, for those that are on here, and even those that will replay. This does not mean that you can't be human.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. But there should be a melding of the two. There should be a dying away of the old man and the resurrecting of the new man. That's why elder majors keep trying to baptize these dogs so they can lay down their old dog
They
man
old self, yes.
and be resurrected as they new doggy creature
Yes,
in Christ
Lord.
Jesus. Amen.
Yeah.
But so the way I say it all the time is this: if you cussed 100 times in 2025, the basic goal for 2026 ought to be that you cuss 99.
Yeah, getting better. Yeah.
It at least get 1% better every day, 1% better every year. And so when I hear that, let your yes be yes and your no be no.
With the leaders that, like you said, are looking at this now and that will look back on this, help us to understand how having that what they say, Jekyll and Mr. Hyde persona, how that hinders the church from moving forward.
You know what? I'm not going to use no names.
Okay.
Because I know your platform is big, and if it's not big, I speak it into existence that you have 1 million followers before the end of the year.
I received that in the name of Jesus.
Listen, and so I lived in Evansville for a number of years while I was an undergrad and whatnot. And so I served at a Baptist church in Evansville. Truly loved my time there. It grew me to leaps and bounds to get me to where I am today. But one of our members was retiring from his job, and so dang, I ain't meaning to give a gender, but anyway, they were retiring from their job, and myself and my pastor, Dr. Raven L. Turner, went to the retirement celebration, and this person introduced both of us. He said, "Hey, this is my pastor. This is one of our associate ministers from the church. I'm just so glad that y'all came," and da 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 da. And before we could shake somebody's hand good, before we could do anything, one of his coworkers just busted out and said, "I didn't know you went to church."
Ooh, wait.
And I don't believe that the gentleman meant anything by it.
Yeah, but
I believe that he was saying that because the actions that I'm used to seeing you at on the job, I would have never guessed that you go to church.
Yeah.
And so my thing is this: if you're going to represent Christ, represent him right, or don't do it at all.
Yeah. And you know, it's not a cliche when they say sometimes we are the only Bible that people will ever see.
Mm-hmm.
They will never step foot in the church. They will never open their word, but they're looking at us to see if you say you serve this God, this Jesus, I want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we keep that mindful, and then we won't mind we like you said, we won't have those double lives, those separate lives.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find amazing is that those type of people that are one way here, and then you see what comes across your FYP page when you flipping on social media, and then if you comment something like, well, you know, you ain't supposed to be doing that, or you say, hey, you don't need to be putting all of that on your social media, then they have the nerve to get upset talking about I'm grown. But want to have impact.
Take it down.
Yeah, and power and anointing in the same breath.
Mm-hmm. You should be grown enough to delete it.
Yeah. And as we were talking on Tuesday, we have to learn how to take wise counsel. And
Mm-hmm.
we're going to get into that when we hit this portion of the youth. But okay, so let's put the lenses of a member on, okay?
Okay.
If
Okay.
I say if somebody says to me member and the word submission, what's your thoughts on that?
Ooh, okay. Let me think. Let me put my member hat on. Wait a minute. So, um, I think that let me go this way. I think that we do a bad job of defining from the biblical standard what submission is. And I think that goes back to creating disciples, making disciples um, versus converts.
Yeah.
And so when we give the biblical standard for what submission is, I think that people have a better grasp of it. But I think from the member standpoint, when you hear submission in this context without being taught the biblical standard, I believe that they hear control. I believe
Mm,
that they hear, I believe that sometimes there may be even a spirit of offense, like I'm grown, uh, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do,
yeah.
and all these types of things. When no one's trying to make you less grown
Mm,
per se, but there is a way that we ought to live.
mm,
There is a way that seemeth right to man,
yeah.
right? Um, and so we have to really get to that place and understand that submission is beyond. It's not control. It's obedience.
Mm,
It's being willing to submit to the will and the way of God. And if we're being honest, you've tried it your own way,
yeah.
and it didn't come out too well.
That's right. How did that work
Um,
out for you? Right.
and so we have to. So let's if Carrie Underwood was here, she'd tell you to let Jesus take the wheel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what submission looks like. Like being like all jokes aside, saying exactly what you said, that's what submission looks like. And I have to agree with you. I think because even in society, like you said, that word submission is used with a negative connotation. So then here I am trying to walk, this Christian walk, and I hear submission, and I feel like being obedient is a punishment instead of being developed. And I think
So
if the perspective on how we look at it, I think we as a church need to do a better job.
and so if I'm gonna say this, if I'm gonna say we have to give it from the biblical standard, let me be obedient to what I'm asking other people to be. So if we look at Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 and 14, we'll see, enter through the narrow gate.
Mm,
For wide is the gate and broad is the road
that's
that
right.
leads to destruction, and many enter through it.
Yeah.
But verse 14 says, but small is the gate and narrow is the road that leads to life, and
Mm,
only few find it.
yeah.
The Bible tells us that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a
Of
needle.
a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. Yes, Lord.
But watch this: when we study, and Matthew's a heavy hitter, so because that's Matthew chapter 19, verse 24. Um, and but when you study that, you understand that the eye of the needle wasn't wasn't hyperbole. It
Mm,
wasn't um, it wasn't poetic language. There was literally a hole in the wall
mm,
called the eye of the needle,
mm.
and rich people found it difficult to get through it. Not because God told us to be poor. That's not what that text is saying.
Right.
He's saying that rich people found it difficult because the only way to get through the eye of the needle was to take off all of the baggage that you had on your horse or on your camel, and the camel would have to kneel down and crawl through.
Mm,
That was the only way for it to fit. And so God isn't calling us to be poor. He's not. That's not what the text is saying. But it is saying that we have enough humility, that we're obedient enough
Yeah.
to do what we need to do to complete the work that He set before us.
And obedience is the key. Obedience will break down some shackles, some chains. Obedience will have you walking in the freeness of God. Obedience is huge. Okay. The next phrase, serving faithfully.
Um, so let me do this real quick. So God's offspring one asked or made alluded to a scripture that's
Mm-hmm.
in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17. Um, uh, and full transparency, some of these things I remember, and then some things I have Google open on my other side on my other screen. Because I don't want nobody. Well, dang, that pastor just know this word inward. I know the word. I can't always remember the address.
Come on now. I'm still in that, right? I
Go
am
ahead.
taking that.
None of us are old enough to be original, so it's okay.
I'm
Um,
taking that.
so that's Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17. And that's the address for obey those that have rule over you. And that can be abused. That can be abused, especially if when we're shifting from into the member lens. Um, when I feel like it's something that the leader can do, um, or the leader is sitting on their blessed assurance while everybody's doing the work, and
Yeah.
you're barking orders. And that's the problem that we run into with Jesus's ministry, because Jesus, like we already talked about, Jesus said that I didn't come to be served, I came to
Right.
serve. But the king that the Jews were looking for, as we read it in the Synoptic Gospels, is they were looking for a king that would sit on a throne
Yeah.
and bark orders at them and tell them what to do. But
Yeah.
that's not the kind of king that he was that
He
he
came
was
to fulfill. That's
came to
right.
be.
That's right.
And so the object is that we labor together. That's why the Bible tells us to know the brethren that labor among us.
That's right.
You can't know the brethren that labor among you if you're not laboring with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you gotta be in order to win the fight, you gotta be in the fight.
That's it.
You gotta
That's it.
be in the fight. Um, and so we talked about serving faithfully and as members. Um, I think that it is difficult, or let me ask you this. Why do you think that some members think that what leaders have to do, they don't have to do? Meaning, oh, you're supposed to be serving in the church, you're supposed to be on the ministry, but they don't think that that is a part of their salvation. Some people think it is just enough to come to church and that's it. Is that serving faithfully?
No. And one thing that I would admonish our churches to do, and this isn't a implication against anybody because I just created it, and looked at it within the last 8 to 16 months, and getting it implemented in our church. We did it kind of, but not formally. You need to have what's called an assimilation plan.
Hmm.
You need to have what's called an assimilation plan for your church. So, what's the roadmap from visitor to to convert to member to ministry worker to possibly ministry leader and beyond? What's that roadmap look like for? And it can be different in every church. And so, um, when we develop that roadmap, people have a greater understanding of serving and being faithful to our church. There's a book, um, The book I read, because I don't want to get up and run away and look on my bookshelf. Um, there's a book that I read a number of years ago called The Sticky Church,
Hmm.
by Larry Osborne. Um, The Sticky Church, by Larry Osborne, and the premise of the book talks about, does it really matter if you have 500 people coming through your front door, but 1,000 people exiting out the back?
Oh, say that again for me.
Does it really matter if you have 500 people coming through the front door
Mm,
when you have 1,000 people exiting
right.
out the back? And so in reading The Sticky Church, we have to know that people that have something to do are more apt to show up every week. And this isn't
Mm,
a gimmick. This isn't a ploy. We
right.
ought to work in the household of faith.
Yeah.
We ought to bring our unique gifts, our unique personalities to the household of faith. What baffles my brain is, and I get fatigue. I understand fatigue, but what baffles my brain is this: you have a whole finance degree, you budget and balance the books for a multi-million-dollar company in your regular life, but no, but the finance team is made up of three people
Mm,
with a calculator and a high school diploma.
mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. This is an implication against anybody. I'm not throwing shots,
Yes, yes,
because
I understand. Yeah,
thank God for those three people with a calculator and a high school diploma,
yeah,
um, because they've been faithful. So thank you for those people. But at the same time, you have an expertise in this area, but you don't bring that expertise to the church.
yeah,
And I think some people, well, I do this all week long, and da 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 da, and I get that, but what we're looking at is, that expertise. God gave it to you.
yeah.
God gave it to you, and I don't want to pick on just my finance people. If you, we, I have a friend I ain't gonna be a gatekeeper. That's not who I am. I have a friend that works for Chick-fil-A,
Mm-hmm.
and they're dealing with their hospitality and
Excuse
training
me.
training their folks. And so I asked them to come be a part of our ministry for a little while, and train our ushers.
Yeah,
And so they're clearing out their schedule, as we speak, to figure out when they can come and do some extra hospitality training with our ushers. Um, we have to bring what we take into the marketplace, those expertise. We have to bring that into the church. And
mm,
everything isn't a one for one. Everything isn't oranges for oranges, apples for apples. But the things that are, we need to bring that into the storehouse, that there might be meat in my house, saith the Lord, right?
yeah,
And so when we're talking about bring your tithes and bring your offering, um, when we look at the book of Malachi, it was an agrarian society. They were farmers.
yeah.
So God was talking to
Agriculture.
farmers in language they understood.
Yes, yeah,
And so when I talk about bringing your tithes and offerings to the storehouse, yes, bring your treasure, but you still need to bring your time
mm-hmm.
and
Your
your
talent.
talents.
That's right. That's right. What I wish people would understand is everything that the church needs is sitting in those pews.
Hmm.
And all of the ministries that people sit back and say, well, we don't have this or we don't have that, or why we're not doing this and why we're not doing that. And it's exactly what you said, is because the gifts, the abilities, and the talent and the time that people have, they are bringing it back to the kingdom of God to serve. And we would not want for anything if everybody could say, what is it that I'm good at? And let me make sure that I go to the church and apply this gift.
So we have a questionnaire now. So when we take in new members,
Mm-hmm.
um, we have a questionnaire now, because not to instantaneously make you busy or steal all your time, but what do you what talents do you have to bring into the church? Another book that I read by Thomas Rayner. He's if I'm not mistaken, he's over education for the Southern Baptist faith.
Mm-hmm.
And so Thomas Rayner, he is the king of powerful books and powerful small books. He will knock you over your head with in less than 115 pages. But he wrote a book called "I'm a Church Member."
Yeah, I've read that.
And the premise of the book talks about not looking for churches that offer me amenities, but looking for churches where I can look to see how I can bring what I have to serve the church, not the church serve me.
Yeah.
Because if I bring what I have to serve the church can't help but serve me.
Right.
Because if everybody's doing that,
we reap the benefits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the principle of reciprocity.
Yeah.
And so, and y'all are gonna hear me. Anybody that ever talks to me will hear me talk about books because you got to read.
Reading is knowledge, and knowledge is power.
Beyond just your Bible, God gave revelation to people that will never write a commentary, but they will put it in this book to share with the masses. And so don't be afraid to read and build out your library so that, hey, stop. And build out your library so that you can hone your skills and sharpen your tools.
Yeah.
I just saw something today and it blew my mind because the reel said, "Has anybody ever called you a butter knife?" And the speaker on the reel was saying, if iron sharpens iron, how will you ever get sharp? How will you ever be sharp enough to cut a steak if you hang out with butter knives?
That's good. That's preachable right there. That's preachable right there. Saying, how can you ever cut a steak? Be a knife to cut a steak if you're hanging around butter knives, because iron sharpen iron.
You're never gonna be sharp enough.
No, not at all. Okay, let me ask you this last one before we go into our next segment.
Okay.
I really want to hear your thoughts on this because, again, tonight's conversation is about healthy churches and moving the church forward. Mm-hmm. I have seen so many in my 24 years of walking this journey. I have seen so many people leave the church because of correction. So when I say correction, maturity, what does that mean to you? What do you think about that?
I think it goes back to my favorite scripture, Galatians 4:16. Do we have to become enemies because I've told you the truth? But also, I need to, as a leader, speak the truth in love.
Yeah.
And not just out of authority. I need to speak the truth in love. You can speak truth to power, but your speech still should be seasoned with salt.
Yeah.
And can we be honest real quick? Some folks just stopped cussing yesterday. And then you come up here with your collar on, your cross tucked, or you the head usher with your gloves on, or whatever. You the leader of the praise team.
Said with their gloves on.
You know, you come up with all your authority, but you have no love in what you're saying. I remember, I'll never forget. You know, we couldn't chew gum in church. Now, growing up, I don't know about nobody else. We had some loving ushers, but we had some mean ushers too.
I done came across my fair share of mean ushers.
And if you had that gum in your mouth, I don't care how grown you was. We had some ushers. They had them little white gloves on.
Get that tissue.
Let me move my hand so you can
put it in and spit it out.
You better
Yeah,
You
yeah,
better put it in their hand.
yeah. Nowadays,
Uh,
people get so offended, you don't even want to ask them to spit the gum out.
these folks ain't coming back. You tell them to spit their gum
Yeah,
out. I'm telling you that right
yeah,
now. Because who you
yeah,
think you are?
yeah.
But we can't be so afraid of correction. And hear me here. That even extends to the senior pastor.
Mm,
Um, I'm not afraid to be corrected. It's all in how you do it.
mm,
You can correct somebody and not be disrespectful. You
yeah.
can offer another lens and not be disrespectful.
Mm.
Because watch this, if we're going to be really true about it, we need to understand that sometimes the pastor is not the smartest person in the room, and that's okay.
But it is really intimidating to know that the man or woman of God is, maybe we just gonna use an example,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not walking in love in a certain situation, or maybe it has to do with you. As a member, I do think it's intimidating for me to go to my man or woman of God and say, hey, I think you was wrong in this situation. Do you find that to be one of the aspects of maybe why one as a pastor is not told when they've made a mistake or when they've offended somebody?
I believe so, but I will also push back and say that that's on the man or woman of God to create and cultivate a atmosphere and relationship with people, to be able to do it. Because and just how you said it, I wouldn't go to I wouldn't go to pastor and say it like that personally, but
Right.
hey pastor, when we were in service last week, this is what was said, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and it kind of offended me, and I feel like, there was some undue animosity or anger in that,
Mhm.
and that it hurt my feelings.
Hmm.
And I believe that any man or woman of God, um, should be able to feel that, understand that, and have an adult conversation, with that member about that.
Hmm.
Um, but also, as members, since we're looking at both lenses, can we be honest and say you can't fix what you won't face?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're disgruntled about something with the man or woman of God, it's your responsibility. What does the Bible tell us to do? If we have an alt with
So
a
to get,
brother,
that's right.
he's supposed to go.
Yes, and get it together.
You're supposed to go to your brother or sister, and figure out what's going on, and talk with them, and go through that whole process of making sure that we're in line and doing things the right way.
Hmm.
Matthew was a heavy hitter. I'm telling y'all, that's Matthew chapter
Yeah.
5 verses 23 and 24.
And with you saying that, I think that there is a thin line as well, because I think leaders and pastors, because we're talking about pastors and members,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a thin line because they have to set boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes members may take it a different way, and thinking, okay, they're not cultivating a safe space, like I'm supposed to have this open door policy all the time to you, not knowing that there are boundaries that have to be created, because sometimes that's when manipulation or other things come in. And so do you think sometimes as members we get those lines blurred and don't know how to separate the two?
Yes, because, um, I will say this: uh, familiarity breeds contempt, and so it's necessary and needed for boundaries. But even in creating boundaries, between the leader and member, between the pastor and member, and every thing in between. Um, I can't talk about nobody else. I'll talk about me. I'm a very I'm funny. I'm a laugh. I'm have a good time, but I can be very no nonsense
Mm.
in some areas, and so even I have to dial it back and remember. Um, I hope no one gets offended by what I'm about to say. A lot of times you have to see your church as your children. If I can use that analogy,
Yeah,
and anybody that has raised children knows, especially if you have more than one, you can't raise all your kids the same way.
that's right.
I have three goddaughters and one godson here in the city. I have an ungodly amount. I need to put them in my bio. I have
Mm.
an ungodly amount of godchildren. It's kind of scary when you think about the responsibility of a godfather. If something happened to these parents, they all come live with me.
Yes, they do. The two dogs
Jesus,
gonna have to move over.
listen. And so, so my three girls, I've had to deal with them very much so different. All three of them have, for them not to be my kids, all three of them have different parts of my personality,
Mm.
which can be a good thing and a bad thing. Um, but all of them embody different parts of my personality and their mom's personality, and so I have to treat all of them differently. One of my babies, I got to threaten to put my hands on you, and then
Mm.
I actually might put my hands on you.
Yeah.
My other baby, um, I don't even threaten her. I just snatch her up because
Mm.
ain't no point in talking.
Mm.
And then my middle baby, I can look at her wrong and she gonna bust into
Just
tears
bust
and
down
fix
crying.
everything. She
Sensitive.
gonna fix everything. If you just look at her strongly, she's gonna fix everything that you
Mm-hmm.
don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in understanding that, even in creating boundaries as a pastor, I have to know that different people, I have to deal with different people in different ways. And that's not favoritism, that's understanding the brethren that labor among you.
Yeah.
Some folks, I have to invite in my office and shut the door. Anybody in
Mm.
my church knows if you get invited to the office and the door gets shut, pastor's mad.
You say you going to the principal's office because that's what it feel like.
We got a problem. But then other people, I can't be as harsh with because they're tender
Right.
branches.
Right.
They might have been in church for 30 years, but they still tender branches.
Hold on. I got a couple of nuggets I'm stealing from you on this here evening. You said tender branches.
Uh-huh.
Come on.
They might have
Tender
been in church for 30
branches.
years, but they tender branches. And so you can't go 100,
Yeah.
you can't explode on them. And so understanding that you have to love on people where they are and give them what they need because everybody's dealing with something different. Now, if I can be an advocate for the pastor, and all I just said, loving different people from different perspectives, and some people can take a harsh word, some people can't. All the things. Remember, you only got one pastor,
Yeah.
and so in trying to do that, give us some grace in that because sometimes dealing with 125, dealing with 250, dealing with 500 people, dealing with 32 people.
Yeah.
If it's just you and your cousins in the front room of your house and you just started a church, it's only 7 of y'all. Dealing with more than one person can be difficult. It can be heavy. It can be hard. And
Yes.
so cut the man or woman of God some slack.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it can be difficult, juggling all those balls in the air, juggling all those chainsaws in the air.
Yeah. And what I
Um,
would say as well is the same grace that the member is looking for from the leader is the same grace that they need to give the leader. And I think we need to look at it like that a little more. Okay, I got like two more questions, but this one I really won't get to. I want to make sure time don't run out on this.
okay.
But my last question for this is, church is supposed to be a family, and all families get into it. We have uh disagreements or whatever you may have.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us some conflict resolution tools that we can take back and apply so that we don't have people leaving out the back door faster than they're coming in, or if we find ourselves falling short, we know how to go back and mend that with love and tendering care of God.
We firstly we need to embody love, and understand, for the most part, unless you are at a larger ministry, we most of your staff is volunteer. And yes, we want people to be faithful. Yes, we want people to do the best job that they can, but they are volunteers. And sometimes you have to learn how to work with and talk to and deal with volunteers,
Mm.
point blank and the period. Um, but we need to lead with love, with folks. And so, country logic says it this way: you can't clean a fish you ain't caught yet.
Mm.
So, what sense does it make for the mothers or um, the women elders or the women leaders of the church to walk up to some young lady that is in the church and her skirt is short, um, and um, instead of walking up to her and telling her good morning, you handing her a lap scarf and telling her that you need to let the hem out on your skirt.
Wow.
We cannot clean a fish we haven't caught yet.
Yeah.
And if we're being honest, we need to lead with love, and we need to build relationship with people.
Mm.
It's an easier pill to swallow when I know mother such and such loves me,
Yeah.
and I was rushing and I didn't get to the cleaners this week, and this was the only skirt I had to grab that wasn't going to require me to iron, or
Mhm.
these, or I lost weight, brother such and such, and these pants normally fit regular without me wearing a belt, but I've lost some weight, and that's why I'm sagging. I'm not trying to do it on purpose. But we can't beat people over the head all because they don't rise to the standard that we want them to be at. And if we're being honest, you weren't at the standard that you have now created for other people, at one point in time. But people worked with you, people labored with you,
Mhm.
people loved
Right.
on you, and gave you what you needed to grow.
Yeah. 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 That leads me into this segue of the young people.
Mhm.
Um, as the churches are growing, we are seeing more young people in our congregations. Um, and so you talked about, that engagement piece of building relationships. How important do you think it is for the older and younger generation to find a bridge that they can gap, or to close that gap in that bridge to bring us together, to move the church forward, because they are the future of the church? So, how important is it to build that relationship?
It's paramount. It is of the most is of a high importance, um, because watch this: when somebody dies, when we have a senior saint, a seasoned saint, however you want to put it, without offending somebody, that passes away. That is wisdom that you can't get back, because no matter if somebody was raised in the same house with them, their experiences were different, and so their perspective and perception is different. And so it's imperative that we guard and give that wisdom of old, while also being being cognizant of the fact that we need to be open to the changes of today. And so one of the ministries that was created is we call it bridge builders, that we're going to be adding, to the church. And so bridge builders is exactly what you're talking about, is taking our senior saints. Our golden heirs is the name of that ministry for our seniors. And so Golden Heirs and our youth and young adult ministries and putting together field trips of sorts. And so twice a month, the Golden Heirs will take our young people to to do something that they did when they were a kid, to show them what that looked like when they were kids, what they did for fun. And then the other field trip is the young person going with the Golden Heir or one of our
Great
seniors,
idea.
and showing them, well, what this is what we do for fun today.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I tell my youth, it can't be on your phone.
Come on.
It's got to be
Listen,
physically somewhere. Got to go somewhere.
Pastor, I would take my daughters out to dinner and they would just be on their phone. And I'm old school. Like, I need some eye contact, I need some conversation. So I would make up a rule that, like, you can be on your phone for like the first 5 minutes. After that, it's over. Put them up. I need some conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. And community, if you don't have anything in place, if you haven't started that conversation about how to bridge that gap with your young people and your seasoned people that you're seeing in your congregation, I beseech you to sit down and talk to your leadership. Sit down if you are the leadership. Get other, heads of departments together. Get with your pastor to see what can you implement, because what Pastor Jordan is doing is awesome. And it may work for some other churches, but just because it worked for our church doesn't mean it may work necessarily for yours. But we got to start somewhere to know what works and what doesn't work.
Elder Chris, have you ever eaten whole catfish?
No, it tastes like
No.
sewer water. Mm-mm. I have before, but I don't.
So the trick with catfish, and this is what I would tell any church, any ministry, anywhere. When you eat whole catfish, you got to be careful because the bones are still in there.
Yeah.
And so when you eat whole catfish, you normally the trick is you take your fork and you pull the meat away from the bone,
Mm-hmm.
and you leave the bones there so you don't die, right? Because them pin bones will get you.
Yes, it will.
I say the same thing as it pertains to ministry with what you just said. What works in my church may not work in your church, and vice versa. What we do in these conversations and in these types of platforms is to understand that you got to treat it like eating whole catfish. Eat the meat that's good and nourishing for you,
Good.
and leave the bones that don't
That's
make sense.
good. That's good. That's good. I like that analogy. Okay, I know we're running out of time, so I am not gonna let you get out of here without doing my segment. Talk about your church. Let's
Yes.
go. Tell me about RCC, Pastor.
So Resurrection Community Church is a church that has been saved to serve, that leads with love. We are located at 2502 East 38th Street, in the Avondale Meadows section of Indianapolis. We serve people. We love people. The word is good, is great. The music is great. The love and the hearts of the people are great. And so it is a perfect place to go and grow for Christ. We are a people that will pray for you and not pray on you.
Yeah.
And so we just love people. And the beautiful thing about what we get to do is we will walk with you. And that's important. When you talk about that church family aspect, to create that community, we walk with you. And so Resurrection is a great place. We have children's church. So we are built and ready for the whole family. And our goal is that by the end of service, every person from the youngest to the oldest has a better understanding of who Christ is and who Christ is in their lives.
That's good. That's good. I read something in your mission statement that popped out to me. And anybody looking for a church home and you're asking, okay, Pastor Jordan, like, what are y'all all about? One thing that really stuck out to me was that it said that you guys not you have the gift and the ability to help the young people along with new Christians and the seasoned Christians to prepare to for adapting to and experiencing the transformation spiritually, economically, professionally, and socially in accordance to the Lord's word. And so I think that is important because, like I said, you are not just a somebody that's talking about it. You are being about it when you are ingrained in the community, and we're talking about that economic support. You're feeding and pouring into, like we said, the most crucial part of the church growing now, which is our young adults, and
Mhm.
just to impact that social aspect. And so what you do on the outside inside of church, it'll show up on the outside in your personal, professional life as well as your spiritual life. So I just want to give a huge shout out tonight to RCC. Was you about to say something, Pastor?
I got to say this. So the reason that I love RCC so much, I grew up loving going to church. I was not a drug baby for the most part, um, but I loved going to church. My best friend, who is a member of our church and his whole family as well, he grew up. He hated going to church.
Wow.
And I'm not speaking out of turn. I love him, and he would share this with you too. But the reason I love RCC is it is a place where if you grew up in church, if you grew up loving to go to church, you got a space. If
Mm,
you grew up and you hated going to church, but you're trying to work your way in and figure out how you fit in this thing called the kingdom of God, it's a perfect place for you too.
yeah,
And so that's why I love RCC because it's not there's no pretense, there's no um, we don't put on airs for nobody. We got a little bit of everything in our church. We have a whole bunch of used to be's in our church,
that's good.
and so that's what I love about RCC so much. There's a space and place for everybody there.
Yeah. You know what they say, baby. We all ex somethings, and
That's
some
it.
of us are still somethings in the church
It. That's
with
it.
no ex. All right.
That's it.
So before I give you the floor to close us out,
Mhm.
again, I appreciate this discussion about what healthy churches look like, how each and every one of us can be a part of growing our churches and moving them forward. And we really talked about discipleship. And we've
Mhm.
seen people come in and leave, and you never have them, they join and you never see them again. And
Mhm.
so, if somebody is looking for a church home, what questions do you wish congregants would ask more often so they don't come in, but they stay? They just don't come in, but they actually stay.
How can I serve in this church?
Hmm.
Um, do I feel drawn by God to this space? Um, and those are my would be my two heavy hitters for that because if I can't see myself serving here, chances are I'm not going to stay here or I'm not going to be an effective member here. And so we have to be able to be honest enough with ourselves. How can I see myself serving here? Do I
Mm,
feel God pulling me here?
yeah,
And so that's where we have to be, and that's how we have to look at it.
yeah.
And those are the two questions that come to mind for that question.
That's good. And I want to piggyback off that. Sometimes we can't go to the church just because mama and daddy go there or because best friend goes there. You have
Hmm.
to be led by the spirit and you have to get fed. Because, like you said, if you ain't getting fed, you definitely won't be there long term or
Listen,
you're
I've
going to
been in
be
my church.
ineffective.
I've been in my church. This year makes 11 years.
Hmm.
My best friend and his family just joined in the last 2 years.
Wow. Yeah.
And when I say, can you find where you serve at? He serves as my head of security, my security director for the church, but also every Sunday, uh, between Sunday school and when our morning worship starts, he is a professional DJ.
Wow.
So he brings his turntables and he is mixing and mastering the sounds of God in from different genres
Mm-hmm.
of Christian music every week. And so he found his way. He found his area to serve in
That's
and
good.
bring his talents to
That's
to,
right.
to the church.
That's what brought to my mind was bringing your time and your talent. All right,
Mhm.
Pastor, I want to give you a couple of moments just to give us our last, closing remarks. And if there's anything that we didn't discuss or you want to make sure that the community and the people of God take away from tonight.
Um, have a forward thinking mind. Look for places and spaces where you can serve and not necessarily um, pawn it off or put it off on somebody else. The Bible tells us that he or she that puts their hand to the gospel plow and looks back is not worthy of the kingdom of God. And so it behooves all of us to count the cost. It behooves all of us to put our hands to the gospel plow and to do the work of God that He has put in our hearts and our hands to do. We all have a purpose. We all have a work. God did not create anybody to just sit in a pew.
Yeah.
He gave all of us time, talent, and treasure. And it is our job to bring all of that to the household of faith and be a strong member, be a strong leader, be a strong pastor.
Thank you so much, Pastor Jordan, for taking the time again tonight and blessing us again with some revelation, with some things that I done stole from you, with some tools and some conversations and discussions that we can take back to each and every one of our church homes to make sure that we're trying to cultivate healthy churches and, most importantly, moving the church forward to spread the gospel. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you. And again, if they looking for the church, where can they find you? What time service start?
2502 East 38th Street, Indianapolis, Indiana. We have 8 o'clock prayer, 9 a.m. Resurrection University, which is our Sunday school hour, and then we start promptly at 10:30. We will get you for all those husbands that want to go to church with their wives but are afraid to. We will get you out before football starts. Um, that is that's not a goal. That's just how our service runs. So we love people. Our website is rccnd.org. We have a church app. So in your app store you can search RCC Indy in your app store, and you can download that app. You can see our messages, our calendar, the whole 9 yards right on that app. You can even message us right on the app.
Yeah, and you can. And listen, I know that your male congregation members are going to love you here in a little bit because the NFL season hasn't officially started. It's still, the newbies out there preseason, but they sure going to love you here in the next couple of months because it's show coming up.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, thank you so much. People of God, thank you for tuning in for this dynamic conversation. Again, if you know somebody that this can truly help, tell them to go back and look at it. It'll be on my YouTube page. Make sure that you take the time to subscribe to Walking Through the Fire LLC, because without you, there will be no community. And so if you want to also follow me, I'm on Facebook at Walking Through the Fire. I'm on Instagram at Anointed37. I'm also on TikTok, Crystal Majors 159. We will make sure that we get you all upcoming information. You'll also get those notifications when we go live. But we are here every Thursday at 7:30. Until next time, may God keep you, may God cover you, and may God bless you. Have a great evening. Thank you, Pastor.
Of course, anytime.
All right.